No one has to say why this place is special. It just is. For over 100 years, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway has been a monolith of motorsports, and since 1911 has hosted the annual Indy 500, one of the fiercest contests in racing. And in 1994, NASCAR made its own crown jewel event here at Indy, the 400-mile Brickyard 400. And though that race has come, gone, and come again, the Area Cup Series keeps the magic alive in Season 5 with an 80-mile feature race, with the sails of the playoff ships closing in on the ports. There isn't a body of water for what feels like 1,000 miles here in Indiana, but a championship mirage lies in the distance here at Indianapolis. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to SimTV and Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna, Hunter Sleppy, and Eric Wineland tonight. Finian, every time we come to Indy, this is a big one, and a lot of drivers that race on the oval circuit, even though it's not the Indy 500, they still want to win on the bricks here at the Brickyard.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially with the real life series returning to the oval configuration after running the road course for the last couple of years, these drivers, I'm sure, are definitely excited to prove what they can. And also, we got some new cars. The new version of the Toyota Camry, as well as the new version of the Ford Mustang, going to be debuting in this race as well. Some beautiful paint schemes, as always, for these drivers, and I think they can't wait to show it off at this event.
Yeah, it will be a good look to see the new bodies of the Fords and the Toyota, especially on a track as big as this, 2.5 miles in length, and long straightaways and similar turns each time around there. It's going to be interesting for aerodynamics, as the long straightaways do play a little bit of a factor here.
Absolutely, Hunter, and don't let the B-roll deceive you, as Kyle Heyer so wonderfully captures that in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We have overcast conditions here in the sim world, here at the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's going to make things really tough to pass tonight, and you got to be perfect at building your run to make those passes tonight. We take a look at our playoff picture, Kyle. Jake Matheson looking solid, as well as the rest of those top six. I'm looking at that cut line. Jeremy Miller, Matthew Bell, like the fight.
There's a lot of great drivers right near that cut line, and we are just flat out running out of time. We have this week, and then we have next week, and then it's playoff time at Bristol. So this is the last racetrack where I think you hold your own destiny in your hands, Finian. So drivers like Ryan Hartz, Doug Newbegin, Justin Anasogak, they are beginning to get into crisis mode here, because they're going to go into Talladega with the only way of getting into the playoffs with a win, and you don't want to bet on that at that 2.66 mile super speedway next week.
Yeah, I was going to say, again, it's kind of wrapping up the regular season, playoffs looming in the distance. As final drivers, you can see how close it was on that cutoff line. Drivers just a handful of points above that cutoff. One mistake, one big mistake can take them out and put them way down out of the order and out of the chance of a championship.
Yeah, I didn't even realize Hartz is below the cutoff line. That's a name that we're pretty synonymous with for success in the Area Cup Series, or for area in general, but he's gained a spot in recent weeks after missing a couple of starts, so he is on the cusp of not making it. So we've got tonight and tomorrow, or not tomorrow, next week at Talladega.
You know what? Michael Curhan's 81 above. If he just has a solid-ish night, he doesn't need to be perfect. He doesn't even need to be stellar or just good. As long as he doesn't have a terrible night and give up 40-some-odd points, he should be locked in on points with one race remaining then. So looking pretty good for the 24 car as well. But that battle, what is that, 5 drivers within single digits to the cut line? That's pretty wild as qualifying is underway.
Yeah, it's underway, and we've got a handful of drivers that have already set down their one lap time. David Weishart up at the top of the order for now. Matthew Bell, Cameron Hearn, Michael Curhan, Connor Okresic, your top 5. Vinny, you pointed out the brand new race cars that we get tonight, and that is because of the 2024 models changing, shifting, and shuffling. The Camaro hasn't changed all that much. Now I just got to find an example of one that is not a Camaro. Here's that brand new Toyota Camry that Brant Slaughter Jr.'s got in the 83. The Ford has also seen some updates to the nose. That won't change anything here in iRacing as far as the driving is concerned, but it will change how some of the cars look.
Yeah, and with that, a big change to the car, as the teams really, as far as which cars they drive. Solarfire Racing switching over from Chevrolet to Toyota. They're going to be running the Toyota Camry, the newer version. There is Seth Knoll in a Toyota Camry there, and again, considering they're in that top flight, it's going to be a brand new look for the team for the rest of the season. Seth Knoll trying to see if he can place that number 1 car up at the top here as he is on his outlap. Oh, and actually it looks like it's going to come to a hold, going to reset.
Interesting look here as I'm looking at the points. So Sky Always missed a couple of races, and I believe he's in the session tonight. He's down to 15th, and he does have a win, but he needs to stay inside that top 20 in order to be locked in for the postseason. So, as long as he has a good race here and doesn't get into trouble at Talladega, he should be on his way towards making a playoff run, but you never know here in area.
Beckner puts up a time that'll put him P12 on the board currently. Probably not where he wanted to be, but nonetheless, he's still, I'd say, easily within half a second of David Weishart. I'm not surprised, guys, that David Weishart is on pole. Whoa, big slide for Douglas Newbiggie. That's going to ruin his lap. David Weishart, Indiana native. So he loves this racetrack because it is his hometown racetrack. So no surprise to see him on pole currently, provisionally here at Indianapolis.
Yeah, a bit of a home field advantage, I'd say, as far as, you pick your racetrack that is close to you. You end up driving that more naturally because that, I think for a lot of people, their home track is where they go to practice just making laps in cars. And if David Weishart's one of those people, he's going to have a proficiency around here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's also a fairly technical oval. It's very, very fast, and it feels brute force because you're on throttle so much, but you have to be so precise of when you hit the brakes, when you turn in, because it is an incredibly line-sensitive racetrack. If you miss the line by a foot, you're in the wall by a mile, and it is not a comfortable feeling.
No, it's really not a feeling. That's going to be the big thing, especially when these guys are in behind each other in traffic come race time. That's going to be a big thing, is making sure where the car is placed and how you're tracking out on the exit. Watching out for those corners, and then really the big thing too is just managing the exits to keep that speed down the straightaway. Speaking of speed, there's James Kelly across the line. Not the best of speed. He's got around midfield at the moment. 8th place on the board.
Dan, you took the words right out of my mouth, or the topic, I should say. The corner exit, that's going to be tough because if you have a bad wobbly turn 2 or turn 4, it's got a long straightaway. I think these are about, I'm just going to say about like a mile in length on both straightaways. You mess up on the straightaways, you're in big trouble because you're not going to have any momentum on your side. Everyone else behind you is going to have some momentum going down the straightaways, and you could lose a couple positions going through the turns as we see another Indiana native, Bryce Senesac in the 09.
Can we get a fact check on Hunter Sleppy right there? Are the straightaways really a mile long? I feel like
I know that the corners are each a quarter mile.
Well, that ends up to be a half mile. Yeah, so good job, Hunter. As we watch Bryce who hit the wall there, I'm not sure that's going to be allowing his lap because it was probably a 0x, and indeed it was. So not a good qualifying effort for the 09. Not where he wanted to be as a fellow Indiana native, just like your provisional pole sitter. Cedric Hunter hails from Canada, long way from Indianapolis, but we'll see what driver of the number 13 Chevrolet Camaro there, Lucky Duck Motorsports, can do.
A bit of a Aflac throwback. Is this the car they ran in the Darlington race?
I assume so.
I feel like it was.
Also, I fact-checked in my own statement. 5/8 of a mile in length are both straightaways.
I think that checks out when you do add up everything else. Here comes Cedric Hunter across the stripe. See what he's got in the 13. It's going to be 173 miles an hour, and that'll put him 21st. I think he'd be a little happier with quicker than that. Edward Scherer Jr. is on track. The Roasted Gems coffee machine. We'll talk more about them later as he rockets down the back straightaway here. Speeds north of 185 miles an hour. Should cap out around 190 plus. Seeing about 193 before the braking zone, and then slowing down about 160 in the corners. That's a pretty significant speed drop. One of the things we'll have to watch all night long is tire wear. Now, we have not seen a lot of tire wear on these cars at any track this season, so that can create a bit of a different race than we're going to see here on Thursday in the Florida State Builders Pro Series cars. So it's going to be a very different flow from tonight to Thursday. How much is yet to be seen?
Yeah, that really is going to be yet to be seen as Edward Scherer Jr. goes up to 18th fastest, and I think with that, doesn't look like anyone out there wants to put a time down, so essentially that's going to be wrapping up qualifying. With a couple of notable drivers not making some laps, Ryan Hart's race slate Connor Horn electing not to qualify, which I find interesting. Curious to see their decision in that.
I don't know if you looked over at Zoom, Kyle, but I was shaking my head no. You're not going to see a ton of fall off tonight, but I will tell you that these guys hosted a session before the actual league session went up, and the conditions were entirely different. We're overcast here, so track temperature is 95. These guys are 2 seconds faster than what they were doing in the practice before the official session went live.
Yeah, Having a look here at the qualifying results, looking down the order. And this maybe doesn't surprise me a whole lot. Seems like things have kind of shaken out the way that you might expect them to, with David Weishart pipping the top there. I do think qualifying at this race is pretty important, though, Finney, and track position always seems to be a topic of discussion. And in the past, we haven't had a lot of yellow flags, so you might not get a chance to shake it up all that much. So qualifying pretty important tonight. And some of the drivers like Senesac, Miller, Newbegin, those drivers in particular really needed to have a good session because they're below that cut line.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because they went out there, they tried to put a lap time, didn't get it, didn't really execute it at the end of the day, but we'll see if they can come back in the race. I mean, we got 80 laps. It's not the longest amount of laps, decent amount. I mean, really the biggest thing for a lot of these drivers, especially near the cutoff, is just a matter of just not making a mistake, especially for those drivers starting way down the order. They got to work their way up carefully and methodically without getting themselves in harm's way.
Yeah, Senesac, Springer, Miller, Bell, Hartz, Lakatos, Newbegin. Those guys are all in a tough pickle, and guy not in a tough pickle is Michael Curran, plus 81.
Oh, that's good.
You did the math, bro. That's awesome.
For those that didn't or aren't in on this, if you've been living under a rock, the Rolex 24 finished about 2 minutes early this year because of an error up in the timing and scoring tower. I think we all can admit that was a fairly egregious error when you're running a timed endurance race, but, funny giggle there for everybody here. We've got onboards tonight from Michael Curhan. We've got Travis Beckner, as we've had the last couple of weeks. We've got Ricky Springer again, and we've also got Bryce Senesac. We showed you. We've got Eric Wineland as well. Hi, Eric. And then we've got David Weishart getting himself set back up for the race here this evening. I have been told that I have missed my picks a number of times this season, and I'm now 4 picks behind everybody else. So as Eric suggested, I'm going to pick 2 drivers this week and 2 drivers next week. That should catch me up to everybody else. I'll do that when we are on our pace lap, when we do our picks, but I need to pay more attention. Letting everyone else get ahead in the points. Admittedly, I don't think the advantage it would have helped anyone else that much anyway.
We need to. I want to establish something here. We need to pick in reverse standing order.
Okay, I'm cool with that. So I go first every week.
First. You're on pole, but you also need to make a couple picks tonight as we get ready to go through our Roasted Gems starting lineup.
Yeah, let's do the Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup after our picks and get that out of the way. David Weishart is starting on pole, but I'm going to go with Jake Matheson because he's won 4 times this season. Hard to bet against him. And I'll go with the hometown guy, David Weishart. So I'll take 5th and 1st for this race. Finian?
I'm going, or is it Hunter than Eric? We're doing reverse order.
Hunter's up, yep.
Oh, I'm up? Oh, that means I'm bad. I'm going to go with... I was going to go with Weishart, then Indiana. Give me Cameron Hurd.
That's okay, Hunter. You only trail Finian by about 41 points, according to my math,
Ouch.
but I'm only 11 ahead of you, so you and I are both trailing Finian pretty good. Okay, so you know what? He's so clever. I think he can get clever on the racetrack as well. Michael Curhan, give me him for tonight's race in that number 24 Physicus Motorsports machine. I expect the 24 to get himself up front and potentially contend for this win.
All right, picks have been picked. Let's move along.
Wait, hold on.
Go get it done.
I feel like that was intentional, Finney.
I'm going to pick Jake Nichols because I like the fact that in practice he's had only 5 laps and was still the fastest of everyone else out there. I think that's something he's going to be wicked fast here tonight.
Nice looking livery on that 73 as well. Dang it, he picked up on it. All right, let's get through our Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup. Race fans, start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems Coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code AREA iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. Pole sitter David Weishart in the number 33. He kicks things off right alongside Matthew Bell in that number 9 video.
Yeah, rolling on back to row number 2. Cameron Hurd going to be starting in 3rd in the number 4 machine, next to Michael Curran starting in 4th in the 24.
Row 3, Jake Matheson in the 56. Jake Nichols rolls off alongside him in the 73.
Moving on back to 7th, going to be Connor Kresick in the number 14 car, next to him Seth Knoll in the number 1, rolling off in 8th.
9th place, Kwame Scott in the number 99. Greg Mitchell starts 10th in the number 24.
Moving on back to 11 is going to be James Kyle in the number 7, next to him Vincent Cortez going to be starting in 12th in the 32.
13th place, Brad Slaughter Jr. in the number 83 Toyota. Garrett Grant starts 14th in the number 5 Toyota.
Ed Robertson's going along 15th in the 64. Next to Casey Lakatos in the number 50.
And 17th place is Tyler Nichols in the 41 Toyota. Edward Scher Jr. 18th in the number 17 Chevy.
Moving on back to 19th, Travis Beckner, way down the order. He's going to have a long way to climb up in the 28 car. Next to Don DeLeo in the 22 in 20th.
And Ricky Springer kicks things off in 21st in the number 51. Cedric Hunter 22nd in the number 13.
Moving back to 23rd to be Blaze McKinney in the number 87 car. Next to him, Ben Pierce in 24th, 65.
25th place is Skylar Shackelford's number 88 Chevy. Justin Anasogiak starts 26th in the 67.
Moving back to 27th to be Connor Horn, way down the order in the 42, as well as Ryan Hart, who really needs to start have a good race, get a win, potentially get up on the board. Going to be rolling off from 28th.
In 29th place is Douglas Newbegin in the 71. Bryce Senesac starts 30th in the 09.
Back at 31st, Jeremy Miller in the number 30. Ray Slate next to him in the 8 in 32nd.
The last driver that will take the green is Blake Hoppy in the number 23.
Hey, 33 cars, just like Indianapolis, the Indy 500.
Yes. Only the
not 33. We just had a development. 4 drivers have lost connection to the session. Ryan Hart's not in here. Travis Beckner dropped the quality, as did Kwame Scott and Jake Nichols.
Wow. Oh, boy.
And the
They're
pace
gonna miss
car,
the start.
Yeah, pace car is going to continue to roll, so we are going to continue. And big dramas here on the start, but the pace car waits for nobody. The Brickyard waits for nobody. The Yard of Bricks, 80 laps from now, will crown us a winner in race 11 of the Area Cup Series. We're underway from Indy. Already weaving down the back straightaway, cars moving around to try to break the draft here early. And those are big dramas for some of those drivers, including Jake Nichols. He's locked in with the win, but there are others who are not. Ryan Hartz in particular really did not need that, Finian. It's going to be a tough start for them.
Yeah, Kwame Scott, Travis Beckner, Jake Nichols all rolling off from pit lane. They've gotten in and gotten out. So I think at worst they're only going to lose potentially a lap. We'll see if they're able to get that back or if they're going to have to stay with it. But across the line, Weiser going to lead this lap as there's Jake Nichols rolling off of pit lane.
Yeah, Travis Beckner as well. Kwame Scott is at the tail of the field here. Weishart heads through the middle of turns 1 and 2 here, Hunter, as the rest of the field has gotten sorted out pretty quickly. But here's a battle for 7th. Connor Okrezik, Greg Mitchell, and Skyola.
Ooh, big moment there for the 2 as he got a little sideways, but you're going to see a lot of this, a lot of single car drafting here, side-by-side racing towards the back. Don DeLeo to the inside of Tyler Nichols for position. That's 19th going into turn 3 with some smoke up ahead.
Well, that was really tight between the 83. No, it was 87 of Blaze McKinney. He got very, very close to Ricky Springer's 51. They almost had it coming together here. I mentioned earlier how precise you have to be, Finian. This is a precision racetrack that requires you to get right on the inside. If you miss that lane, it can be a bad deal, and side-by-side here is very hard.
Yeah, I was going to say, unlike an IndyCar, you can have a little bit more margin of error. These things, once you commit them to the corner, it's very hard to adjust your line mid-corner. So if you put it offline, you really have to get on the binders and back off and get the car readjusted. Otherwise, you're going to get close to that wall. I think it's one car up the road, just get a little bit of a scrape of it.
Robinson, the 64, catching a little piece of that turn 2 long.
This is the place that will hurt you, too. Go ahead, Eric.
I wanted to update you. So those that fell out of the session did return and keep themselves on the lead lap. Kwame's only 15 seconds behind the field, but Travis Beckner and Jake Nichols, they are way behind, 40 and 48 seconds respectively. So you can actually see Jake out the front of the field right now on the racetrack. So not an ideal situation. These guys hoping for a yellow just ahead of the lead pack.
Now, what happened to the 3? Did the 3 drop as well? I don't see him on the screen.
I believe Ryan Hart's planned starting point.
Got it.
Same thing with the 8 of Rafe Slate.
That answers that question at the very least. Thanks, Eric. Up onto the back straightaway here. Weishart leads the way, 3/10 over Matthew Bell, and we're already seeing that it's a bit challenging to get moves done. But look at these 3 back here. Now Ed Robertson for 15th with Blaze McKinney and Ricky Springer. And how about up the road a bit? There's who's that? Vincent Cortez on the outside of Garrett Grant. New paint scheme this week with that new Toyota.
Yeah, I was going to say ditching the red and black, going to white and black, and that lime green looks fantastic looking car, and it's just going to slide ahead of the 32 Vincent Cortez. But they've, in this little side-by-side battle that they've had, they lost a lot of time. They lost 1.7 seconds to the drivers up ahead. You see them flying past the yard of bricks.
Yeah, this is just outside the top 10 as Grant, an Indiana native, trying to work his way into a good finishing position. Same with Blaze McKinney's been slicing and dicing that red and black car in the picture right behind the 17 of Ed Shear Jr. Ooh, and he almost has a moment there coming off turn 2 as he's looking inside of Cortez.
Little side draft action here, such long straightaways. The draft is very effective, and I was going to make a point earlier about getting into the wall that you don't want aero damage here. This place is going to burn you. You need the aero for the corners, and you need the slip for the straightaways, and the second you damage it, it kind of removes all the good from all those places, so got to keep the fenders on them tonight. Big bobble there from McKinney out of turn 4.
Yeah, that's the thing these guys got to really watch. Again, when you talked about it before, those corner exits. Not just being tight and getting up to the wall, but it also goes the other way around, being loose on that inside lane, especially trying to get that car to rotate out of the corner. You don't want to force it because it's going to only make the situation worse. You got to look after your tires. While we think the tire wear is not going to be the worst case scenario, you still don't want to abuse them more than you have to.
Connor Horn looking to go up 9 spots on the field since the drop of the green flag, and looking on the outside, or he's in quite a pickle here trying to get alongside Ed Robertson down the backstretch and into turn 3.
And pulls even with the 64 down there at turn 3, but then what? Cortez is going backwards. Might open up the door for some others to jam down there. There is absolutely a pack of cars jammed in behind Garrett Grant. He is the cork in the bottle right now with the pressure building.
Yeah, Casey Legatas is looking like he was trying to muscle his way on past him, was building up a run, but just couldn't quite do it. And I know Casey does have some experience with an Indy car, so you can argue that he's got a little bit more experience than some of these guys that may have not run an Indy car around here, but he's looking pretty good and really quick. Just can't quite get past the 5 at the moment, who, like you mentioned, is that cork in the bottle.
2.5 seconds back from Ed Robertson is Garrett Grant as he was swerving there trying to break up the draft. With something we'll see a lot tonight.
Oh,
guys trying to break up the draft.
Car on the wall in the background. Ed Robertson and Vincent Cortez took a decent chunk out of the wall.
Yeah, he's been flirting with that the last few laps or so. Robertson.
Oh, this is more than flirting. This is, you need to buy me dinner first kind of contact.
Oh, yeah, that was a big hit. Almost bounced off of Connor Horn there. They might have made some contact, but it's been a couple of times now that he's hit the wall. Like I said, guys, you got to keep the fenders on it if you want to last the whole race.
The funny thing is, actually looking at his car, it doesn't look like it visually has any damage, but I mean, we've talked about how the toe links in these cars can be the first thing to go before any of the body. So yeah, he's dropping down the orders and wondering if he has damaged that right front suspension. As we look back up near the front of the field, Seth Knoll trying to hold off a charge from Michael Curran in that beautiful new Dark Horse Ford Mustang, and Connor Okrezik in behind the number 14.
Also going to hope that doesn't affect the aerodynamics in any way for Robertson as we continue to look at this battle into turn 3. Curran below Seth Knoll going to take 5th away. Knoll going to try and close the door on Okrezik for the 6th spot, and he'll do just that, and going to be making their way back down the front stretch and across our own Eric Weiland down in pit road with an update.
Hey guys, don't have the mic set up, so you can't actually hear me down on pit road, but can we get an onboard in cockpit or gyro shot with the 64 car of Ed Robertson? So that wall hit, yeah, that did a number on the old 64 car. He said the wheel is about 1 or 2 o'clock right now to go straight down a straightaway. He is not having a good time. He's got wheel damage, and it's only going to get worse from here until he can get to pit road, hopefully under a yellow, to get that repaired.
Yeah, you can see it there. He's turning right while turning left. And that's not what they meant in cars when they said turn right to go left. I guarantee that's not what they were talking about. You see the big wiggle there. It makes the car unstable. He's dropped to 24th. Might not look like it's hurting, but it absolutely is.
Yeah, unfortunately, we'll see if he gets a chance to fix it. I think him as well as Kwame Scott, Travis Beckner, and Jake Nichols are all kind of hoping and praying for a caution to come out. But for the most part, everyone kind of mostly single file out. A couple moves here and there by some drivers. Although it looks like Garrett Grant, he's dropped back down to 15th. So cork has officially been popped, and we'll
yeah.
see if the drivers that have gone past McKinney, Springer, Scherer, and Legatas are able to do anything with it, because they all seem to be faster than number 5.
Yeah, something must have happened with the 5 of Grant. He might have had a moment off one of the corners, but he's dropped a few spots. Newt Bigging had a moment there, but biggest mover of the race so far, Blaze McKinney, as mentioned, the Indiana native, up 12 spots since the start of the race, and it's just 1 spot shy of that top 10.
pressure for second here. Jake Matheson has closed in on Matthew Bell. Remember, the 56 started this race in 5th, so he's up a couple of spots and making some progress here early, and is about to apply pressure to the tailpipes of Matthew Bell. And given his wins this season, he's really just collecting all those extra bonus points for the playoffs, Vinny. He doesn't need to win tonight, but he's still laser focused, and given his record as of late, he'd be hard to root against.
It'd definitely be hard to put up against, and just kind of taking him off till the playoffs start. I mean, he doesn't really force the issue here. It's a matter of just, if anything, he wants to collect more wins to his name. Hey, it's just been kind of amazing how he's come out of nowhere and then just really taking it to guys like Jake Nichols, James Scioli, who are really the top dogs in the series, and he's got those rookie stripes on the back. But definitely has proven he's not a rookie in the conventional sense.
I don't think we give enough credit for Matthew Bell having a strong season. His worst finish was 40th back at Las Vegas, but other than that, his worst finish was 15th. Very consistent with an average finish of 14th. Could have been better had that Vegas finish not occurred, but he's been so close to a couple of these races, possibly getting a win. And who knows, it could happen today in Indianapolis, but he's got a fast-charging Jake Matheson on his rear.
Yeah, keep putting your car in the same spot week in, week out in the top 5 and the top 10. You'll just find your way into a win someday, although you'd like to have those dominant days. Lucking into one where you were running well is also an option, and that certainly you take those when you can get them as well. All the while, no one's taken the pressure to David Weishart since the drop of the green flag. This Indiana native looks right at home up front.
Definitely looks really home at front, and one driver who's not looking at home in technically the front in front of him is Jake Nichols, who's potentially going to go a lap down here. You can see he's right there and actually not appearing on the timing because he wasn't there when we took the green flag. But yeah, he's about to go a lap down. Weishart's been catching slowly but surely to that 73, so I think Nichols is just kind of hoping caution comes out sooner rather than later. And Beckner not too terribly far from everyone else.
No, those guys are going to need a quick yellow about now. Same with Ed Robertson to fix up that damage, but for the most part, it's clean and green so far through Indianapolis. Got a little bit of a pack form in there between 4th place, actually 5th place Michael Kern, and then 10th place Brad Slaughter. There you see the 24 of Kern running in the 5th spot.
This race hasn't had a lot of yellows in the past. Last season it was only 1. We had 9 lead changes, but a lot of that was because of the green flag pit stop sequence. So looking at that data before you show up to a race, guys, when you're trying to win a championship or even get into the playoffs, you have to know that this race is likely going to go green for a long ways. And do you plan your strategy around this race going green from flag to flag? I think maybe drivers are afraid to do that because a caution can pop up at any point. But as we saw with last week and the week before, you can get long green flag runs, especially like we saw in the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series and the Truck Series. If you can plan for it, you might have a winning strategy.
Yeah, and also just a change for second place. Matheson ahead of Bell. Bell pulling over on the front straightaway to let him on by. So I guess we figured the 56 is a better shot at catching 33, and we'll exchange position, let him have a go at it. Chase down the 33 Weiser. But yeah, I think for these drivers, the name of the game is just don't count on a caution. We're going to get few, if none, potentially, as we're 14 laps in. And again, everyone is all fairly spread out at the moment, so the odds of a caution, I would say, are fairly low.
Yeah, the last broadcast we had the Area Pro Series at Homestead, 0 yellows in that race, although we were close to having a couple, but nonetheless, it never happened. So you need to prepare for races where it could go green to the end, or it just could be a caution fest, but you never know. Car on the wall back there. I believe that was Anna Sogak, but yeah, these guys in the back, they're going to have a handful, especially like Ed Robertson. If you have damage on your car, and even if it's small damage or aerodynamic damage, you can't do anything about it until you get to the road.
One of those racetracks that I think VR helps a lot in because you can see where the fence is. See a lot of contact out of turn 2 and into turn 3 because the wall dimensions change width because of the safer barrier. And it just helps to have a bit better surroundings. And I think Ricky Springer is experiencing that right now. Chasing down Blaze McKinney, who, as you guys noted earlier, is the highest or the biggest mover so far, 23rd to 11th. A great run for this 87 Toyota so far. But 15 laps in, you got to start thinking about when your first pit stop is going to be and how that could play into your whole race strategy. Especially if you're Travis Beckner, Jake Nichols, Kwame Scott. You need to be ready to really divert your strategy quickly because they're going to need some assistance if they want to get back up into this race. Look at this mess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's kind of amazing in the fact that these guys still almost double filed back here further down the order. This is all a battle for around 19th, 20th position here. And you can see Vincent Cortez, who's dropped a couple spots from where he started up in 12th, as he got very close quarters there for a second.
Yeah, they got really tight there. Shackelford near the bumper, actually pushing DeLeo down the straightaway. Going to look to the inside. Going to try and get around him for 20th on the track. Going to send it into turn 3. Sennesac closing in the picture, but DeLeo taking a higher approach. Going to keep the spot at bay.
Getting a little pushy-shovey back here. And, you know, this is also one of the dangers of these long races is drivers realize how hard it is to pass in green flag, and that if we do get a yellow, things get really aggressive because everyone realizes after a couple laps you lose that ability to move forward, and it comes down to saving tire and maybe in some cases saving fuel. And these are the races that patient drivers can win. I think that's why David Weishart seems to do so well here, is patience will pay off for you at Indy.
Yeah, absolutely. Whoa! Did we just see contact there with Newbigin in the wall? Not Newbigin, sorry. Yeah, did he get a piece of wall? If not, he got very close to it.
Look here. Just missed it, and Ricky Springer almost tagged it as well.
Yeah, Springer actually getting passed by the 17, was falling behind the 87, and McKinney couldn't quite do anything with it. As you look at Douglas Newbigin further down the order, he's had a great run, all things considered. Started in 28th as Brad Slaughter is off to pit lane.
Did he
and I don't think that's by... No, that was definitely not by choice. You can see the cloud of smoke in the background. You can kind of have a guess what could happen. Oh, that's a huge hit to the inside wall.
You can see the first of the new Camrys get the front end tore off it. Let's see what happened again. All on his own here. Out of 4, just starts to walk up on him. Oh, the 7 of Sky only got in the wall, and he bailed, and ouch. That stinks.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Brad Slaughter. Oh, man, just nothing you can do at that point.
Take out likely our first driver tonight. There's little hope of salvaging that race car at a track like this. It might be night over for the 83. We're not expecting to see a lot of carnage either, like we have at some of the other tracks where you can get back on the racetrack and gain a bunch of spots. I don't think we're going to see that tonight, and that might play into some things as well. This McKinney fight, though, man, this 87's moving forward, but he does have Scher Jr.
Battle for third.
And change our minds. Here, look at this one. Ooh.
Yeah, Cameron Hurt got a great run off of turn 1, tried to make a move in the short chute. Of course, fortunately, couldn't quite execute it there. In turn 2, but he's definitely gaining. That 4 is looking really quick. Hasn't made a whole lot of move, but he's kept consistently inside that top 5 and kept the leader in sight. Only about 2 seconds in behind.
Not only that, teammate Michael Kearns closed the gap within a second now between the 4th and 5th place drivers. Teammates for Fazekas Motorsports, and going to be an interesting run here for Hearn off turn 4. Oh, he's got a nice run. He's going to set him up for turn 1, but I don't think he'll have enough room to make an opportunity to go below the 1, but it's going to set him up for the next lap.
Casey Lakatos moving over and giving way to Connor Horn, another driver that's moving forward from a pretty low starting spot up 14 positions. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a couple of years, but wasn't Connor really good at this track back in the ORL days?
I mean, there's a few tracks that he wasn't good at.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I think he was pretty decent here. I'm not too surprised. He got it pretty good, pretty decent at the road course. I mean, we saw in the Daytona 24, he was putting in some really good lap times.
Faster than us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I had no idea he had any really prototype experience, but he was.
Oh, trouble! Garrett Grant around in turn 3. He saves it, and we stay green. What a save!
Oh boy!
Wow. Him and Vincent Cortez got together into turn 3. That was a little bit too close for comfort there, and going to cost a 5 allowed spots. So will the 32 of Cortez, and might have to take a look at the Cinematic Market replay on that. That was very close.
It's closer than close. They crashed. He's managed to save it here. 13 on the bottom, and then the 32 rockets in there and just drills him in the left rear. Just timed it wrong. He did an amazing job straightening that thing out. That was a pretty wild ride. Quick reaction. Stood on the brakes, got it sorted back out. Great work there.
And Jake Nichols, Travis Beckner, and Kwame Scott all just collectively sighed.
Yeah, they really needed that yellow. That would have been very helpful to them. Eric Weinland on pit lane, what you got?
Hey, did you guys document what happened to the 83 car?
Yes.
Okay, because I just happened to jump in and see it. I missed that live. Nonetheless, he's not happy. When I jumped in there to listen into the radio, I was trying to see if Garrett was saying anything about the incident that we just saw between him and Vincent Cortez. Nothing there, but Brad upset. He says the one race he does try to sit and feel fast. Tried to help James Scioli go forward. Kind of felt like he got held up a little bit. And then trying to turn left underneath, just like James Scioli did there to Seth. Brad made contact and lost control of the race car. So asked for 8th place there. The 7 car moving forward.
Yeah, that's it. It does stink when you're trying to work together. You know, we saw that so many times. Talking about the 24 hours, Finian. Every time you let a prototype go by that was faster and they'd screw up in front of you, it's the same scenario there. You get extra mad when you go out of your way to help somebody and then they screw up and cost you. So I think that's the scenario there, unfortunately. But it definitely hurt the 83 a heck of a lot more than it did the 7. But obviously no one meant anything by it. Just how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Yep, it really is. Especially it's the worst when you have an incident like that at a track where, like you said, it does feel like he had the speed, had some confidence in the car. Unfortunately, he's going to end it down on pit lane. He doesn't look like he's going to get back out there. Ed Robinson also down on pit lane. Want to add, I'm not sure if he's getting repairs. He is sitting in the car, so he's trying to just fix that car up and get it back out there. See what he can do. And speaking of getting back in this race, Bobby Scott has actually just made his first pass, catching up to the back end of the field. Even though he started around 17 seconds down the order, he still just about managed that, but he's catching up to the guys who are really struggling on the tires in the back end of the field.
Yeah, I think Robertson just now is getting off of pit road. He's 4 laps down, but yeah, going to need a miracle for him to get back in this and get a good finish. But the 24 of Curran keeping everything rolling, and could be the first driver locked in on points alone if everything goes well tonight. Plus 81 with a good heading into Indianapolis.
He's had a couple of good weeks leading up to this as well, so things are looking up for the 24 as he chases down the 4 machine just behind him. Connor Okrezik is going by Matthew Bell. That 9 is slipping a bit later in this run, and we're actually seeing what I would consider significant tire wear for this car. We're down about 2 seconds, Vinny, and that is probably some of the most tire wear we've seen on these next-gen cars anywhere.
Yeah, I was kind of feeling that it would be, the most that we would have seen, because these guys are pulling 150 miles an hour in a relatively flat corner. So you're demanding a lot from the tires in that respect. The air is only going to do so much. So I would imagine this is probably the worst we would probably see it on the calendar based off of the way the track is laid out, because these guys don't really have a lot of banking to really rely on carrying so much speed.
Listen to this into turn 1. You hear what I heard?
Oh, no, I have cars screaming in my ear.
That 56 was coasting into turn 1.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised. I actually heard his teammate, the 32, Vincent Cortez, down the order. I've heard him been clutching into turns 1 and turns 3 for a couple laps. So I think that team, they're thinking maybe they can make it. I assume they're trying to just see if they can make it from one stop.
We have a couple of car lengths there, Matheson and Lysart, as rolling down the front stretch once more, going to complete 25 laps and going to complete another circuit around our own Eric Weiland, who's back for an update.
So, the fuel update for you guys. I had this info actually from earlier on, but unfortunately I had to step away from the sim rig for a moment. So, fuel window is 36 to 40 laps. 40 laps is if you save and can get yourself there. So we're seeing the 56 deploy that strategy here of clutching into the corners, fuel save as much as he can, use the draft of the car in front of him to get himself into the window of making this race on one stop. Just bear in mind, the more you can do on this first stint, the better off you're going to be, so you don't have to do as much fuel save on the second stint. That is the strategy right now that Jake Matheson's putting on. But if you are not confident in that strategy, I expect pit stops to start from this lap on for a 2-stop strategy, about 27 laps each stint to split it evenly into thirds. So no one down the lane yet that hasn't been for damage repair like Ed Robertson did, which he sat on pit road for 3.5 minutes to fix that right front broken, I assume, toe link, since his wheel was at 2 o'clock while trying to go down a straightaway. So nonetheless, pit stop starting soon. TM.
Oh, trouble, turn 1. Cars in the wall,
Garrett
Jerry
Grant.
Miller and Garrett Grant, and they are slow, and they will keep rolling. And we will stay green again for the second time with the big incident. This time there's some cars that are damaged.
Oh, this had some interesting. Yeah, you're going to need to start from the beginning of the straightaway. There's some context missing. So here we go. This is coming out of turn 4, and I think these guys got a little bit irritated with one another.
Oh, yeah, a little contact there once, twice, thrice, and bam. Oh, that's a big hit for the 30. That is ugly. I wonder what. Maybe he was just trying to side draft. There's a little net code there that starts that, and then from there on out. David Weishart and Cameron Hart just hit pit lane, by the way. So out of the lead. A couple early pit stops. I don't think I was expecting it that early for those drivers. I thought they might try to use their track position more to their advantage, but I like the one-stop call, Finney, and I think you can save enough around here. The speed difference that you have, it's a pretty significant savings ability if you do it right.
I'm really curious to see how this is going to play out. I do typically like to make fewer stops with my strategies, but I think for those who are quick enough, guys like the 33 David Weishart and Cameron Hearn for that matter, if they're quick enough, I think they can try to make up as much time as possible, using that tire delta we saw of almost 2 seconds a lap, and just go like heck out there and just push as fast as possible, as hard as possible to make up that time.
See a couple more takers down pit road as going to be making a stop here. The Nina Bell, and looks like Cameron Hearn is in as well in front of our own Eric Weiland. Eric, a lot of cars coming in, making stops.
So these guys are committing to the two-stop strategy, Hunter, and interestingly, Matthew Bell, I think that was unintentional, pointed himself right on pit exit. He's going to get jumped by the 14 of Connor Okresic on pit lane. Nick Matheson committing to the one-stop. Radio from 609 Motorsports. I won't have the clip that I'm going to describe to you here, but I also have Jeremy Miller audio that I'll play in a moment. Connor Horn says he's still making the same lap time, even with the fuel save. So he's committing to the one-stop strategy, as I think most of the field will do. Jeremy Miller, penalty as well, coming up at road too fast. But here's what he had to say about the incident between he and Garrett Grant.
I mean, he flat out just intent wrecked me. He left reared me on the straightaway, so I ended up in his door, and then he intent wrecked me in the one. Blatant as day.
So what I don't think Jeremy has seen yet until he gets out and looks at the replay is that the 23 helps the 5 turn back up the racetrack right there. So I don't know that I'd count it as an intent wreck, but obviously those two making contact, not happy with one another. Garrett's side draft had gone a little wrong. A little bit of netcode kind of glued those two together, and it was on from there, as you see on the SimRap market replay. But nonetheless, only a few committing to the two-stop strategy. I'll be curious to see what David Weishart can do with it, as he is 3 seconds clear of the next driver on that strategy, Cameron Hearn. Watch a battle between Blaze McKinney and Seth Knoll right there.
Battles everywhere on the racetrack right now. It's this mixed strategy is mixing things up. I think that analysis kind of matches what we saw also. A little netcode contact from a side draft, and then the 23 does get into the back of the 5 and shoots him up the racetrack there at the end. It's certainly frustrating. Will make their days a lot harder than it had to be, for sure. But guys, we got really interesting strategy playing out. We've got about half a dozen cars that have made their pit stops, and a lot more that seem like they're going to go to this 40-lap mark, Finney.
Yeah, and I just like the split in the strategy, especially because it was the faster guys near the front of the field that came in to do a two-stop strategy. So it's typically, you do need to be obviously be fast to do it to make more pit stops, because you make it up out on the racetrack. But it's curious. I do think the one stop is going to win overall, but I mean, I can't say that with 100% confidence. I think maybe there might be something with these guys that came in, because the tire wear is almost significant enough where I say it's viable.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards the one stop also, but this is, again, without a caution coming out on the racetrack. We've already had a couple of close calls there, both involving the 5 of Garrett Grant, most recently with him and Jeremy Miller, and it's bound to happen, I feel like, if we're getting that close to it, because I don't think we were that close to seeing yellows fly last year, even though we already had one, and it was a good battle side by side. In the 4, it's Horn on the outside, Leo on the inside. Going to go around Eric Weiland once again. Back down pay road with an update.
Hey, I just want to jump in on the conversation about strategy. So 5 drivers decided to take pit stop and go with a 2-stop strategy. Bear in mind, their pit lane delta from the moment they hit pit road entry to the moment they hit pit exit, not including the slowdown period to get onto pit road and obviously the speed up on the access road to get out. 40 seconds. So these guys did not go a lap down. So if there is a yellow for any reason, as we are seeing, we're still getting closer to potentially seeing, these guys are not completely shafted on the strategy, and even then they can even stay out, get flipped forward if it happens before the pit window opens to make it for the rest of the checkered flag, which obviously with 48 laps to go, we're kind of 8 laps outside that window from the guys that are trying to stretch it. So not all is lost. I'm not discounting what the majority of the pack is, the top 20 actually are trying to do, but I do like this 2-stop strategy and being aggressive with it, just like the 33 of David Weishart is currently leading and doing.
We've got a workout on that SimWrap Market replay cam tonight. Race fans, head over to simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple and easy to use, so it keeps you more focused on the racetrack. James Scioli hunting down Jake Matheson here. This is for the lead. Just wonder how hard they're going to go for this here, knowing that they've got a strategy to uphold.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're going pretty hard at the moment. Scioli trying to get past here. Pushing the envelope. I think the 7 feels like he saved enough. And Matheson maybe trying to save more. And remember, Eric brought it up a little while ago that, you know, you may see some drivers save maybe a little bit extra so they can push harder in that final stint. Or you could do vice versa. You can push harder in this stint and maybe choose to save a little bit more in the following stint. You know, I think it really depends on your driving style, you know, where you are in traffic. And I think we're seeing Scioli trying to see if he can get past 56 and build up more of a gap.
He's getting pushes a little bit from the 7 of Scioli too, so he's not going to want to push the issue. He's actually going to let the 7 of Scioli go by on the outside so he can save some fuel and drag the 7's going to now drag the 56 on the straightaways. And I'm not sure, I don't think this is planned or not, but it's smart strategy from the 56 of Matheson.
Yeah, I like this call. There's no point in leading the race right now. Might as well let the 7 go up there and burn some fuel, and you don't want to give him the advantage of being able to draft you, so jump back in there, get in the draft, and just listen for how long. You can coast a lot longer than I think he's going to, but listen. I mean, that's a long ways. You're saving a lot of fuel doing that.
Yeah, as long as you repeatedly do it from earlier on in the run, which the 56 I think has been doing it for quite a while.
Yep.
That is going to save you quite a bit of fuel, and if anything, it gives you more options to work with. But coming to lap 36 here, going to complete 37 next time across the line. So that fuel window, we're pretty much in it right now. So you're going to start to see more and more drivers make a pit stop. Of course, I'm sure everyone's trying to make it to that magical lap 40 before they come on in.
Speaking of come on in, we're going to go on in with Eric Weiland for another update down on pit road.
Your segue game is getting better, Hunter. I really like it.
We don't need to end up on that new Instagram account, though, I'll tell you that. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm riding on board with David Weishart, and something else that just came to my attention while you guys were doing the report on Matheson clutching. Obviously, he's staying in 5th gear, but the Cup car, with how the sequential gearbox is in 5 gears, you can downshift here in Indianapolis. So David's actually running 4th gear through each end, each short shooting corner. Then 5th gear on the straightaways as he's building up his top speed. So that's another difference in making lap time for the 33, is that he can downshift and even use a little bit of engine braking because his downshifts happen pretty early. That also helps pitch the car a little bit looser, try to get it to drive off the right rear more than the right front and get a little more even of a tire wear for the 33. So all out, flat out pace that's just different than what the 7 and 56 are doing. And right now, David is just about a second, almost a second and a half a lap faster.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. The dynamics of the car control here as Ricky Springer hits pit lane. When you talk about downshifting to pitch the car and lean more on that right rear, that's an excellent point. Evens the tire wear out. Very, very notable. And we've seen drivers shift around a little bit, but knowing how to shift and drive the car with the pedals in the gearbox more than the steering wheel, that is going to conserve your tire. Go ahead.
I think Seth Snow's got a problem. Not necessarily a problem with the car per se, but I think rather the fact that he's not saved enough fuel, he's backed off a lot. He let Connor Horn and a whole bunch of drivers going by. He's dropped from 5th to 10th in one lap. I think it's because he's trying to back off more because I think he's maybe realizing he might have not saved enough fuel. Look at the huge amount of saving he's doing off into the corner.
Close to making it on halfway, which that would be a stint there as Newbingen almost had a moment coming out of the turn, but Ricky Springer coming down pit road and completing service on his car. He's back out, but down in 26th.
Greg Mitchell has come to pit lane, so has Blaze McKinney. And I think if you can get to the start of lap 39, you can probably save a little more and make it the next run anyway, but this is a big racetrack. You don't want to run out of fuel going into turn 1. You might not make it back around, Eric Weinland.
On pit road here, watching service on the 87. This is not good if you're Ricky Springer, Blaze McKinney, Greg Mitchell, Douglas Newbingen, Blake Hoppy all on pit road here. And even Dom DeLeo, who just caught out that he's pitting. You are not making it to the end of this race here if you cannot get to lap 40. And obviously, these drivers here have not done so. Now, if you're like Seth Nolan, didn't catch up on the strategy until it was too late, then I can understand maybe pitting early and making sure you get enough across the second stint like Finian was talking about earlier. But this does not look good for these guys that they have to pit this early and potentially fuel saved from the green.
And to make, we're not to halfway yet. We're starting lap 40 right now, but you have to get all the way back around for it to be considered halfway because we end on the end of lap 80, not the beginning. So even these cars have to actually go 41 laps on this next run instead of 40. Now, granted, we had the pace lap. You could probably count as half a lap, but that's something to consider as well as a whole host of others. Don DeLeo, Skylar Shackelford, Casey Lakatos, and others hit pit lane.
Oh, caution!
Oh, big. That's going to be huge. Who is it? Where is it?
I have no clue. I'm trying to find who it is.
Kwame...
A bunch of cars stopped the pits.
No, not Call Me Scott.
I can't find on track.
I can't either. Ooh.
Vincent Cortez, maybe? The 32?
Slow. I didn't see anybody anywhere that...
Hey, report from the racetrack. The 73 is out of gas, and it's off pit exit. It's the 23. There's a bumper flying in front of Vincent Cortez on lap 40.
Here it is.
Oh, man.
That was a big impact.
What a hit.
Throttling up and hits the bump and into the wall. Wow. That is a dramatic way to bring out a yellow for the first time tonight.
You typically don't see a lot of wrecks off the pit lane, but I mean, these guys are trying to push it, and I think he pushed it way too hard on the exit here.
Just hit the bump. You can hear it skip.
Yeah.
Tracked out a little too far to the right there.
Did he drop the right rear on the grass as well?
No, he got really close, but there it is a little bit bumpy. Like you can see right there, the car going over the bumps. I think if he was down, it was up an extra gear. I think it would have. If he brought the RPMs down, the rears wouldn't have spun.
So, Area also implied a rule here that they went over in practice that pit exit, you can go out to the outermost white line, but if your right side tires touch that outermost white line, then you're penalized for a pit exit violation. iRacing lets you go all the way out on the racetrack. I don't know why with the open wheel oval they do that. So that might be a bug in terms of the pit exit and for safe pit exit, but he obviously could have stepped out further and given himself more leeway to hold more speed, but he didn't do so. And then the bumps, as you guys documented, got the best of the 23. The 73 was out of fuel, by the way. He has come down pit road, I think, a lap early, so he'll get a drop to end. But that's a saving grace for the 73 because he's still coming out just ahead of the pace car. He's going to make it.
And because you don't go a lap down here pitting under normal circumstances, that was a benefit to basically everybody. Now, some just lost their track position, but everybody should be able to make it on fuel with a pit stop here. And even those that just pit can shut the car off and coast around. They should be all good. I think you'd want to come back down anyway because you already lost your positions, but this is going to equalize the field and make us basically good to the end from here.
Yeah, and everyone's going to be coming on down, like you mentioned, because effectively, if the guys that were planning on making 2 stops, it's pointless kind of staying out there and then having to come back under green when you can make it on 1 stop from here on out. As everyone comes out of the pits, it'll be Matheson leading the run out of pit road, but of course a bunch of drivers had just come down to pit lane, so it looks like Connor Horn will be the race leader.
Worst case scenario, Finian and Hunter, for David Weishart, right?
Yeah.
So you just had the one stop earlier. He's planning on a second stop, and the yellow comes out. It's going to make everyone good on fuel, but he's lost all that track position. He exits pit road in 11th, Hunter.
Yeah, big there for David Weishart. Seemed like he had the car to win. Still has the car to win, but it's going to be in a tougher spot, having to go from 11th rather than pole position where he's led 26 laps so far. We're over halfway, but like I said, anything can happen in an area, and right when these guys were making their pit stops, yellow comes out, and now we got a whole bunch of mumbo-jumbo.
Yeah, and that worst timing. But I think for the majority of the field, they were all happy to see that. But Weishart in particular was not stoked about that. I think the four Cameron Hearn would also say that didn't really pan into the strategy that they were playing. Connor Horn is dropping.
Yeah, he actually, so I was wondering why that is. He actually pit after the caution came out, so he got an EOL.
I don't think there's a pit light on entry here probably, so he didn't see that the yellow was out in time. Or
I mean, he would have seen it on the UI, no?
No, notice that this is the open wheel oval. So you see where the yellow cone is there? You can be committed to pit road and have no way to get back on the racetrack and get the penalty.
No, he had a long time to decide. The caution came out while I think he was in the short chute.
Yeah, so you see Blake leaving pit lane right here, and Connor drives around him, so he had almost a half a lap. Yeah.
You could totally get trapped on pit road if you commit. Yeah, he does have a ton of time there, but I would not be surprised if someone did get trapped by that, potentially with this yellow. Regardless, they also had to pass, I think the 73 was telling guys to go around him because he was out of fuel on the racetrack. So, yeah. From what I could hear in the comms as I was jumping around, but getting set for a restart, Kyle, and it's gonna be a wild one.
It's gonna be spicy, and that's perfect if you're a hot sauce fan. Be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings.
I love this segue. You guys, I'm so glad I'm getting everyone to do this.
I mean, you pay us, so I got to do whatever you ask us to do.
Well, that ain't out of my pocket.
It's out of somebody's. Here we go. Lap 44.
Out of business pocket.
Yeah, I suppose. Lap 44 of 80. Here we go. Back underway at the Brickyard. Newbegin leads us to the green. This is going to be an aggressive restart here because everyone knows how challenging it is to get track position. You got to get it now.
And how about Kwame Scott through all of this after missing this initial start up to 5th? Has a chance to break, really doing well here if he can get past some of his fellow competitors up here. But Douglas Newbegin, a great start for him, and 3 wide out of turn 2.
Wow, that was very tight. Leo there on the outside, Weishart in the middle with Skyler on the bottom. Matheson coming in front of the 13 of Cedric Hunter. Still 3 wide, looking into turn 3. The singlet, well, shouldn't say singlet. They move it down to the side-by-side, but very tight, Kyle, coming off 3.
Yeah, this is pretty wild. Weishart is trying to move up his spot. He's going to lose some now, middle of 3 and 4 in the short shoot. The 56 on the outside, he was his main foe before. Now they're on equal footing, but buried in traffic here as Newbegin and Shackelford try to drive away side by side with Scott and Bryce Senesac for 4th.
Ooh, down to got a great shove. Ooh, door-to-door contact with Senesac and Kwame Scott. Down to Leo going way outside 3 wide after he got a fantastic bump from Jake Matheson down in the front straightaway.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how they didn't wreck there. DeLeo, I thought he was going to smack the wall. He's still in the tough spot here. Senesac going to try and get in. Oh, and he's going to get a massive push from the 56 of Matheson. He's going to take it to the inside. Nope, going to stay tucked in line. They are super speedway racing here at the Yard of Bricks.
Yeah, the energy level has come up significantly because everyone knows how important grabbing positions is right now. There's almost 3 wide again with the 56 looking middle. Thinks better of it. Weishart is fading here, stuck on the bottom, and the good lane seems to be the middle right now because they're not trapped behind everyone else.
Yeah, I think you want to be on that outside. You get that fantastic run off the corner, and look at the 09 getting freight train. Oh, and Bryce Senesac turning the 99 on the straightaway, caution gonna fly.
Oh no, Senesac went to side draft the 99 because everyone was going to the outside and they just touched down the straightaway. Oh my goodness, what a heartbreaking situation for Kwame Scott and Bryce Senesac.
Wow. And we had Kwame on the driver call, but very quickly ended it after that in obvious frustration.
Yeah. So there's some prior context to this because there was a heated discussion in the race chat between the 09 and the 99 prior when they went 3 wide.
Oh, man. Oh.
Finian's on the nose. This developed about a lap and a half before the actual incident. Bryce was upset with the way the 99 was racing him. He said he felt he got doored off the racetrack a little bit. So I was just in their channel. There you see the contact initially between the 09 and the 99. Bryce said he was trying to come up with a side draft. He also wanted to he did say he did want to door him a little bit just to pay back the favor, but he wasn't trying to wreck the 99. He feels terrible about what he did, but nonetheless, he did do it. So race control is going to have to deem what they see out of that. But man, what a vicious hit for the 09 and 99.
Everyone did a great job missing that, too. That was right in front of the field. It could have been a lot worse than it was. You can hear it.
I get what Bryce is trying to do there, but I think it's one of those situations you just can't do that.
Listen to this.
Yeah, that's all solid concrete there on that inside pit lane wall.
This doesn't help him in the points at all. He was looking at, he was plus 20 to the cutoff line heading into this race, and that is exactly what you do not want to happen.
Yeah, that's what makes this more surprising, though, is that you would be, this aggressive with a move like that, because it's now also taking his car out of the race, because he also hit back to the wall really hard, and he's got a lot of damage, and that car's effectively out of the race.
And to add insult to injury, depending on the way race control deems this, if it's intentional wrecking, there's an additional points penalty for the area rulebook, which could severely hurt Bryce's chances at any sort of playoff in 2 races time. But incredibly unfortunate. Lucky that no one else was caught up in this.
Yeah, watch the wheels come off the ground when he gets into the wall here. They just get hooked together, and then you're just along for the ride. But watch the rear wheels, bam, off the ground 4 or 5 feet there before it comes back down. Vicious, ugly wreck there for the 99 and the 09.
I think what we should do is also take a look at the point standings, because I'm just kind of curious to see how this is going to shake up here with the way everyone's running. So Bryce Senizak, he's out of it. He's going to drop a couple spots. He's near that cutoff line. Jeremy Miller, he's had a pretty miserable race so far. He's 5 laps down in 28th. He's going to drop out of the order. Matthew Bell will probably move up. Ryan Hartz, he's going to drop down below. Case Licata's, Douglas Dubing, they're doing really well at the moment, 1st and 3rd. So there's going to be a lot of movement around that cutoff line.
Yeah, this is a very unorthodox way of shaking up the point standings, but nonetheless, anything can happen in area at Indianapolis, and we just saw it there with Senizak and Kwame Scott. We'll have more to update on this after the race, but definitely expect the 09 and Senizak in the admin hauler after this one's done.
We've had quite a few different unorthodox ways the point standings have been shaken up. Hunter, if you remember Ricky Springer v. Jeremy Miller at the end of, was it last season or 2 seasons ago now? It's
season 4.
End of season 4 in the Cup Series, yeah. It's
we're not even at Talladega.
Actually, that was during
That's
the
most
playoffs.
unorthodox.
Yeah. We still got Talladega to go. So someone's motor just went.
Oh, I heard that.
Gosh.
The car in the pit?
I believe it might have been the 83 still sitting on pit road from his incident. Could have been the 5 as well.
It was the 5 who was having a barbecue down there.
He's I mean, I guess it's a little late to start the tailgating and
it's actually
put stuff on the smoker, but
I was just watching the smoke. It actually, I think, changes with the wind direction.
It does. Yeah.
I was surprised, but I didn't realize the engine smoke does. I know the tire smoke.
I think tire smoke
does that too.
Is
I know
somewhat affected by that. Yeah.
I know tire smoke does. I didn't realize the engine smoke was affected by it either.
I think usually because it's happening at speed, so you don't notice it.
You know, look at our current conditions there, so not too windy. And as Kyle so graciously pointed out to me at pre-broadcast section, the front stretch faces north to south, right? So getting some help down the front straightaway, but a headwind out the back.
Yes, that's correct. I know that primarily because I was in the South Terrace, I think, for my spots in the Indy 500, which were right about up in just to the left there is where we were, right at the exit of turn 1. And I've never sat in a grandstand seat at a racetrack before and felt unsafe, but I felt unsafe there, right at the exit of turn one.
Oh, the tire.
Yeah, that was the next corner. That was turn 2, but we saw it go over the fence, and my fears were realized there for a little bit. The 8500, if you've never been, it is a wild race. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before. It is crazy, and so is this about to be. Pulls it in on 30 laps to go. Newbegin and Shackelford up front. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. Wide deeper in the field there. Edward Sherritt Jr., Seth Knoll is back there as well, shaking things up side by side out of turn 1. And Newbegin has been doing a nice job getting away on these restarts.
He really has. It's a matter of can he break away and get away from everyone else. As Skyler Shackford trying to chase him down, Dom DeLeo, James Scally, Case Lacatus, Ricky Springer, all in this mess. Everyone bum drafting down the straightaway into turn 3, and Scally just going to peel out of line, make a move to the inside of the 22.
Not sure if Weishart might have clipped the wall there, but they're 3 wide in front with Lacatus in the middle. Springer on the outside. Weishart trying to get everything he can, and he's going all the way up on the outside. I think he might hit the wall there.
Oh, squeezed by the 14, and he's hit the 14 across the road into pit lane. Narrowly misses the pit lane attenuator, slams into the wall. We stay green.
He lost his front bumper, though, and we're into the callable out forward. I think when they were in that practice session earlier, he said that I feel like there's going to be a wreck coming on the pit lane, and oddly enough, it was the 14 in Locrest.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that a bit later when this all settles out, if it settles out. 30 laps to go.
Yeah, that was the big question mark there, is if it's going to settle out, because they're going at it right now. I think definitely that place to be is going to be that outside lane. We've seen so many guys build fantastic runs, and everyone's fighting to get that outside lane spot. And no one wants to be stuck on the inside when you're in the middle of the turns.
All back here. Yeah, battle for the position between Cedric Hunter on the outside and Greg Mitchell on the inside. That's 8th on the track. And then Connor Horns, excuse me, in the top 10 spot, moving up to 9th, going to try and clear Mitchell before going into turn 1. I think he might just do that.
And moving forward well after that pitting while pit lane was closed penalty. And DeLeo on the inside of Matheson. That got a little dicey there through 1 and 2.
Ricky Springer seeing him out of line, tries to see if he can make a move, going to cut back in line, might have to get some slipstream to help him out, get a run down the back straightaway into 3.
Who's that in the wall back there? I think that was Vincent Cortez just behind Weishart. He's going to lose a spot to Matthew Bell. Caught a bit of that turn 2 wall as we watch this replay from Simrat Market. We go down the pit road for another update from Eric Weiland.
You see right there through 2, the 32 was too far up the racetrack to try to make turn 2 and continue to carry the speed. I don't know if we've looked at our Simrat Market replay. As Kyle said earlier, we've really worn that thing out with the 33 and 14, but here's radio from David Weishart.
Dude, fighting for the outside at Indy. This is a joke.
So the 33 has picked up damage as well. He is obviously not happy. He feels he got crowded trying to fight for the outside. He doesn't understand why. And obviously, you see right there, once the contact was made, Connor Kresik was just along for the ride, and he's got some broken suspension parts when I jumped down there, but he was silent on the radio. None too pleased with what happened.
Yeah, got wild there for a moment. A couple other cars got tagged in that. I think Seth Knoll got some damage as well. Kind of drive it in there after the fact. You see the front bumper sprinkled there on the lower nose. That's not going to help his case, although it doesn't seem to be nearly as bad as what the 14 got. And then 33, of course, he kind of got walloped in 2 places, on the left side and on the nose on the right side, but it doesn't look so bad now looking at it from here.
Yeah, initially when he got it, it looked worse than it is, but I guess when the damage got reset to what it actually is, it doesn't seem to be too bad, but of course it really matters how the driver feels it behind the wheel. As Ricky Springer makes a move on Dom DeLeo, he gets moved up to 5th place, trying to see if he can catch Matheson and Skyley as they both chase down the 88 Skyler Shackford and the 71 of Douglas Newbegin leading this race.
There's the 87 of Blaze McKinney, and he's fighting for that 10th spot from the 50 of Casey Lacatus, who's kept a clean race for the majority of this session, with Weishart breathing down his neck and now looking to the inside for 11.
Yeah, Weishart's driving angry too. We got to be frustrated after just the luck of the circumstances traded him around. Remember, he was really in command of the race. Who knows how the strategy would have played out, but it never got a chance to play out, and now he's fighting here for 11th. And there's another one of Weishart's days that have gone south after having great pace.
Matthew Bell making a move on Casey Licata. Licata's trying to see if he can get back in line. He's being freight trained on the bottom. Seth Knoll trying to squeeze that number 1 car to that inside. Oh, almost takes up the 50 of Casey Licata's with the dive.
Oh, he left the bottom open for Mitchell. Had to reapproach turn 2 differently, but he's going to hold on to that spot and get a bump here from Cortez. Beckner, haven't talked about him all night. Going to go around him as well. And Ed Shearer Jr., the 17, going to try and get around Mitchell as they're in turn 3.
Yeah, Beckner's one of those other drivers that kind of missed the start there. And he's running about as high as he's been all night. He's trying to recover. But I don't know that this is going to be Beckner's night, unless he gets maybe another yellow or 2. We're pretty scarily close to the end of this race, guys. About 20 minutes worth of racing and about 25 laps this time through as well. So things are winding down. But Douglas Newbegin, Skylar Shackelford, they still lead. But look who's 3rd and look who's 4th. Scioli and Matheson. Doesn't matter how you shake the race up, the old heads still find their way to the front, huh?
Yeah, I think they've gotten a chance to work their way up through the order. Now they've finally gotten some clean air to work to catch back up, and they've been lapping pretty quickly compared to the guys up ahead. About 0.2 second a lap they've been catching up, 0.2, 1/10, but now they've effectively caught up. The gap was around 0.8, now down to almost 0.3 of a second.
Oh boy, this would be a big win for Douglas Newbegin in the 71 as we're looking at Jake Nichols still trying to make his climb towards the front. Douglas Newbegin has 44 Cup starts, has yet to win. Best finish was 2nd a season ago in Atlanta. And then Skylar Shackelford, his best finish was 4th coming from Richmond this year. And he's under attack now. Here comes the 7 Skyoli peeking in the background.
Yeah, it's getting tight between these two up front here, between Shackelford and Scioli. And Newbegin really wants Shackelford to fight for his life back here and trying to hang on to the 2nd spot, maybe slow up the 7, but there is pressure forming behind. Weishart's wide out of turn 2. Here comes a block on the 9 and the 1.
Going way down almost to the white line. Seth Knoll is going to sail on past.
Ooh, for the lead, guys, for the lead. Scioli
they just lost it.
through to the lead. Wow. What a move.
Yeah, one fell swoop takes out 2 positions in one corner. Matheson also going to file on through.
Oh, and then Ricky Springer in the middle of the 71 and 88 moves up to 4th, but just like that, and I think Weishart just made a move down the pit road, but just like that, Skyoli and Matheson passed Newbegin and Shackelford.
Yeah, coming down pit lane. Would this be a continuation of the strategy that he was playing before?
No, I think he got damage.
Oh,
yeah, he had damage from that incident.
Just gave the done notification. Gloves were coming off, and that just might be a white flag retreat there. Wow. Tough night. You got to feel for him, you know. He's got put in a bad spot, and luck not on his side.
Yeah, I'm sure also for Douglas Newbegin, he's also going to be shaking his fist at the 88 Shackelford, because as it was in the lead, Shackelford made a move to the inside, got tight in 3, pushed the 7, pushed him and Newbegin up the track, and the 7 Skyler just snuck his way through on the bottom, but now the 7 Skyler's got to deal with Matheson and Ricky Springer catching up in that 51.
Yeah, Matheson pushing the 7 down the straightaways, trying to separate himself from the 3rd place car. Springer, last one back at Charlotte a season ago, looking to return in the victory lane for the first time in season 5, but has to get around Matheson, has to get around Scioli as these two are trying to bump draft away from the field in turn 3.
And Matheson gave Scioli a heck of a shove the last time down the straightaway. Well, that 56, something tells me he is just lurking here. I think if he really wanted the lead, he might have already gone for it. As Newbegin and Shackelford still scrapping back here for 4th. That's going to bring in Dom DeLeo. And Connor Horn is up to 7th. Keep an eye on this 42, guys. He's coming with a vengeance, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, the way he's taking these lines, he's really working his way quickly around this track. He's been maneuvering through traffic amazingly, so you definitely want to keep an eye on this 42. This race is far from over. It's still 20 laps to go as the 22 and the 42 almost make some contact mid-corner. The 88 and the 71 continue their paddle, now down in 4th place.
3 rows of side-by-side action inside the top 10, and they all went around our own Eric Wineland just a moment ago. Eric, what you got for us?
Big move for Blaze McKinney there. I'm actually watching this on the same camera angle. That's wild. Big moves for the 87, but listen in to the 65 and the 51. That's Ben Pierce and Ricky Springer for Powerhouse Racing, talking how they feel the race has gone so far.
It's been a pretty cool race so far. It's been, yeah. I would have liked to see it go green, because I was trying to make it to halfway, but cautions are going to caution.
I think I found my new favorite quote for the season. Cautions are gonna caution. Great one there from Ben Pierce.
Whoa,
Also,
for the lead, here comes Jake Matheson and jets down the inside in turn 1. He's through. Stevens tries to slam the door on Ricky Springer and crossover.
Couldn't quite execute it. Seven comes back in the short
Side
shoot.
job.
Not over yet. Here comes 56 and the 51. He's trying to see if he can squeeze that car up the inside, but Matheson gets a great run off at turn 2. Going to try to get some side draft going and drag race down the back straight away.
Door to door for the lead, heading into 3. Matheson low, Skyly on the outside. The 51 of Springer had to force the move from Matheson, and it puts him in the lead for now. Skyly going to have to try and work his way around the 56 as they're coming to 19 to go.
Whew. All right, Eric, you can finish your thought now.
So Douglas Newbigging is 3 laps older on tires and fuel. So Douglas is not shifting right now. He still feels he needs to save a little fuel, but he was pointing out, he noticed when he got passed by Ricky Springer a couple laps ago that Ricky is shifting. So the front 3, they must feel pretty good about their situation on strategy. They must feel good on fuel if they're shifting and driving away from the rest of the pack. Douglas is held up about 4th on back anyway, as Skyler Shackelford and Connor Horn had just worked by him. But the 71 is in potentially still a fuel situation, which keep your eye on this one. It may hurt, especially if he's trying to earn some points to get himself into the playoff picture in that 71. It may hurt his standing as well as Casey Lakatos, who has tumbled down the order since his early or more recent front running.
This has been a very interesting race from a bunch of different angles. Strategy playing out, a couple more yellows than we got last season. Some big dramas with some front-running drivers. Here comes Ricky Springer, who's found some pace. Remember a couple seasons ago, was it season 3, that he just got hot late in the going, Finian, and wasn't unstoppable by any stretch, but certainly couldn't count him out. It looks like that's kind of the situation we're in here tonight.
It really looks like you got to keep an eye on him. I mean, we've still got a lot of racing left with 18 laps to go. So he's lurking in line with that 7 and 56. I think he's hoping that they use each other up a little bit more and he can just kind of sneak his way on through when the moment presents itself.
Yeah, season 3, Springer had 3 wins, and he needed another win at Talladega, the season finale, to lock himself into the playoffs, and then won the first playoff race. So he was definitely on a roll there in season 3, then won only 1 race back in season 4, and that was at Charlotte. But looking to reclaim that victory lane feeling as he's trying to go for his first win of season 5. A little further back, though, DeLeo under attack from Fazika's teammate Greg Mitchell, being pushed by Seth Nolan to turn 1.
Yeah, that damage doesn't seem to be hurting Seth all that much. Here's Mitchell on the bottom, DeLeo on the high side here, and I think part of Weishart's frustrations, where it seemed like you had to be up on the high side to go anywhere side by side, and maybe that feels frustrating because that's not how it would work, is kind of what I was gathering out of that, which can be frustrating. When you're expected to just run the bottom and all of a sudden there's people passing you on the outside and you got to fight for a line that wouldn't exist. But things are changing. The sim is changing. You have to kind of learn it on the fly where the fast lines are going to be, even if they are not the typical ones. All the while, Connor Horn has stalled at 5th place here behind Skyler Shackelford in the 88.
Yeah, this is kind of surprising. I'm really surprised they haven't done a little bit of team orders and kind of reverse the order and put the 42 out in front of the 88, because I feel like Connor's losing valuable time sitting in behind his teammate. He's been losing about a 10th or so a second, which is, he needs to be doing the opposite. He needs to be taking out a 10th of a second here and there if he really wants to have a shot at getting a crack at this top 3. But I'm not sure if he's maybe trying to help. Maybe he's deciding, maybe he's trying to help out his teammate a little bit more in the points, keep the 88 up, because the Shackelford can use the points a lot more.
Look at this
sitting
mess.
20th. Oh, that is a big mess. Look at that. It looks like a super speedway race here. There, nose to tail, bump drafting off into 3.
Pre-Talladega this week off into 3 there, Hunter. Look at this slide.
Oh, that's Greg Mitchell. Travis Beckner, they're going to touch in 3. Somehow they're going to get out of it without creating a caution. But that's going to cause a lot of spots to be lost from the 2 of Mitchell and even Beckner.
Ooh, that was interesting. Here's Seth Knoll on the back of DeLeo and McKinney up the road a ways. Thick traffic in the mid-pack here.
Yeah, really, you're just seeing drivers going completely at it. No one wants to give up a spot. Ooh, Vincent Cortez is a bit offline. Jake Nichols trying to sneak up through, up into 11th.
Oh!
And now Nichols trying to see if he can get past his teammate as Cortez makes contact with the wall.
That's the 2nd or 3rd time he's pounded it tonight. Hunter, that is not going to be good for that right side.
Not going to be good for any side as they're still navigating their way down the backstretch as Nichols trying to get closer towards that top 10. Going to go back on pit road. Get an update from Eric Weiland as they roll into turn 30. What you got for us, Eric?
Oh, spin!
Turn, Michael, turn! Turn, spun into turn 3, and the caution's going to come out.
Uh-oh.
No, my pick to win. Oh, and is that a broken left front? That doesn't look good.
Yeah, it helped getting into turn 3, guys.
It was getting rowdy back there.
It was just the broadcast angle. I was getting ready to come up here and say I had Travis Beckner audio from the Greg Mitchell incident. Listen in.
What in the world just happened? Holy cow.
We're going to look at our SimRap market replay for the incident that just happened.
Yes, this is probably pulling up a little early here, but down the back straightaway, side by side with 17. I wonder if there's some contact here that starts it. Oh yeah, probably right here on the quarter panel, right there.
There was... I don't know where Ed Sugar Jr. was going.
Yeah, I was going to say he missed the turn-in point, I would think, a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he was the whole lane off where he needed to be.
He might have just been planning on falling in behind the 24, just timed it wrong. Bell did an excellent job trying to dodge that. Did get a little bit of damage, but nothing major.
that was the best way he could have avoided that happening right in front of him.
Yeah. That's a mistake on Ed's part there, I think, but thankfully the 24 should be serviceable.
Oh boy, speaking of service, Eric, it's going to get busy coming to you.
Everybody coming down for 4 tires and fuel. Oh, we got some stack ups getting on a pit road. I don't think Skylar Shackelford knew where the pit entry was, but nonetheless, they're all coming down pit road here. 4 tires and fuel is going to be the call, I would think. You might see a couple 2-tire gambles, especially for the guys that need that track position back there, like Vincent Cortez, for example, from about 10th on back. I'm impressed with Beckner and Nichols' rise, guys, after their disconnects. Yeah, we got Skylar Shackelford out with 2. I've also got
Blaze McKinney.
Another one traversing down pit road here. Yeah, the 87 and Blaze McKinney coming by me as well. 4 tires and fuel for everyone else. 3 wide off pit road. Horn, Nichols, and Springer.
Oh, that's a tight race. And I think Scioli at 11.9 seconds. Can you do 4? Yeah, I guess you can on the next gen. Get 4 tires in 11.9, so that must be a 4-tire stop for Scioli.
Who is it, Scioli?
Yeah.
Let me check.
11.9 and 11.2 for Jake Nichols. That
nope,
seems,
that was 2 tires.
And Tyler Nichols at 10.5. There's a lot of mixed strategy here.
So we got Lakatos has stayed out. I don't know if this is to lead a lap.
Yeah.
I think he went through.
I think he lead a lap.
Yeah, he did go through pit lane. Thank you, Hunter.
Oh,
Shackelford's on 2. I've got Scioli on 2, McKinney on 2, Matheson's 4, but then Nichols on 2, and another 4 for Springer and Horn, then another 2 for Tyler Nichols, and then 4 tires the rest of the way down the field. And Sogak had damage repair, as well as the 4 of Cameron Hurt.
Oh boy, guys, this is not panning out the way that the previous race did. This is going to be interesting. This race has been phenomenal. I think I remember the Indy race last season being really good too, but this one has had a lot more moving parts to it. It's been hard to keep up with as of late. And we're going to get a restart with, let's see here, coming to 11 to go. I'm going to go out on a limb and say we have not seen our last yellow. This is going to be, what was it, 2017 Brickyard that was super chaotic?
Yes.
I think we're gearing up for something like that without all the oil.
That was the best Brickyard in my opinion.
I just rewatched the 2011 Brickyard actually before getting ready for the broadcast tonight. So fuel mileage was chucked out the window the moment we had that yellow at halfway. But last season, correct me if I'm wrong here, Hunter, 1 caution?
Uno caution.
Okay, so we've already well past that in uncharted territory here. We're going to get a restart with 11 to go, it looks like, Kyle. So unprecedented waters here in Indianapolis. But this is only the second area Cup Series race ever at the big track. That's not the road course configuration.
Yeah, this big track has bitten in a big way today. We've got almost half a dozen cars that are out from crash damage. Brad Slaughter Jr. was out early with a crash out of turn 4. Garrett Grant and Kwame Scott out of the race early. Bryce Senesac, Connor Okresic, and David Weishart all out as well. Last running car is the 23. He's down 12 laps, and it's Jeremy Miller down 4, Ed Robertson down 2. Everybody else is on the league lap, and every other car feels like it's on 2 or 4 tires. Couldn't tell you a rhyme or reason, but we're going to get to see it play out here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Brickyard has a century-old history of creating chaotic and dramatic moments, and we're about to see one more here in iRacing. Green flag back in the air, 11 laps to go with Skylar Shackelford on the point. Already Seth Knoll popping out looking 3 wide, but he tucks back in line. Blaze McKinney at 87, watch that car off into turn 1.
Pneumatic, can he get up to speed quickly on that bottom lane? He's going to try to get clear of the 56. He can't quite slam the door shut. Matheson going to look to that outside.
Side by side for third, McKinney on the bottom, and the 56 and Matheson on the outside. Here comes Jake Nichols in the 73. I haven't seen him all race long, but he's showing up when it matters most. Springer and Connor Horn bumped after down the back.
Now off into turn 3. Watch that contact there with the 51 and the 87. McKinney muscling his way by. Little bobble there from the 56. He's the only car up here on 4 tires, I think, other than Ricky Springer. So that's the move for the lead. Here comes the 7, though.
Galley working to the bottom of Shackelford. Shackelford's going to get that run off the corner, and he will secure that spot for now, but don't give up on Scioli. He's going to be counting him here for these last 10 laps.
Shackelford's going to make Scioli earn this win as he's trying to get his first win of the time. Again, 4th place at Richmond was his best career finish in the Cup Series, but the 7 all over his bumper going into 2.
Gave him a shot down there at turn 1. He wanted to know that he's there. Throttling up here for the exit at turn 2. Jake Matheson's right there. Ricky Springer's right there as the field filters onto the back straightaway. Nichols not going forward as like he'd like to. The 88 throws a block there. The 7 there is there. Here comes the 56. Look at this run down the back straightaway.
Yeah, I was going to say the guys on 4 tires are really finally catching up to speed now. As the 7 is going to sail past the 88, he will secure the lead. Matheson, Springer, Connor Horn leading a train of drivers on 4 tires.
Rewind in the back, Newbigin in the middle of that as they're rolling through turn 4 now as Scioli is the new leader. Going to come through with 9 to go at the line. Matheson going to get a run on the 88. Horn looking to the inside, going to get some clean air on the nose before diving into turn 1.
Yeah, so as we get that 9 laps to go, Jake Matheson again is on 4 tires. So is Springer right behind him. But Matheson's going to have to get by Shackelford here pretty quickly if he wants to use those tires against James Scioli. So game on. He's going to go to the high side here at the exit at 2. Maybe to try to build a run on this back straightaway.
Yeah, he waited till the 88 came up in front of him. Now going to use him to get some slipstream, push Shackelford up. Is Shackelford going to pull out? He stays in behind. I thought Matheson was going to pull out as well.
There he is looking to the inside. The 88 going to be under pressure from Matheson. Door to door into turn 4. And Matheson going to have his eyes set on race leader James Scioli with 8 to go coming this time. Springer now looking to the inside, going to fit the gap. Here comes Horn to the inside with Springer.
And the 88's going back on offense on the 56, and he got there. The 42 is going to take them 3 wide for a moment. Now fans back to 2 wide as they head off into turn 1. That 42 is a big wild card in this mix, and he does have 4 tires.
Whoa, some slight door-to-door contact between 42 and 51. These guys have had some history in the past. We'll see if it potentially rears its ugly head here, as they're still side-by-side off for turn 2. Shackelford got held up, Shackelford held up Springer, and that'll let Connor Horn to have a run. And there comes Jake Nichols giving a bit of a tow. Nichols on 2 tires, now finally inside the top 5. Oh, gets turned by the 73.
Saves it in the middle of turn 3.
By the 42.
Oh my gosh, that was too close for comfort there as they're going to roll past Eric Weiland. Eric, we got an update, but this racing's intense.
Well, I was going to tell you guys that Ricky Springer moved Discord channels. He joined Miller Racing and he worked with Jake Matheson on the restart. They are no longer together since Shackelford has gotten in between them. But there was a short alliance there between the 51 and 56 on the restart.
Getting wild back here between the 32 and the 41. Watch that contact. The 2's in the wall. That's Greg Mitchell. Caution can come from anywhere, and it's a mess back here.
Oh, if it's going to come from anywhere, it's going to come from back here. These guys are in an absolute mess right now. They're all trying to dog each other. Everyone's fighting for those final few spots because they know it's coming down to the wire. And there's Douglas Newbigin trying to make a move on the inside of Tyler Nichols, see if he can get to 13th.
Scher Jr. had a big handful of steering wheel off into 3, got into the wall, managed to gather it back up, but this is just a very tense moment back here. All the while, for 3rd place, here comes Ricky Springer on the 88. He's through.
He almost turned the 88 in turn 4. Actually gave him a bump in the entrance of turn 4. And now having a run. Here comes Blaze McKinney, trying to look to the outside, almost turns 51 on the straightaway, squeezing that Toyota to the outside.
Fighting for the lead, fighting for the podium spot, fighting for a top 5. They're touching in the back. Beckner and Shackelford side by side. They're going to be
there they go.
Beckner into the outside wall and Shackelford. That's going to bring out the caution. Not sure if it's going to be a green-white checker attempt officially, but we're going to get a late race restart, Kyle.
That was wild. We knew it was coming. But the 28 tangles and goes around at the exit of turn 1. Everyone gets to take a breath for another moment, but we have had it holding for what feels like an hour. Here's a look at it. These two teams, at least this driver in this team, have long had an issue. Connor Horn bailing out of it, Jake Nichols just missing it. It all starts kind of in the middle of turn 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewind a little bit before that. It starts from the entry because the 28 threw it down there, and the 88 was coming down. Kept coming down in the middle of the quarter, and everyone was filed with the same piece of real estate. Wow, look at Jake Nichols bailing out to avoid contact.
So I happened to be in the Solar Flare channel after Jake Nichols' save. He hoped that the broadcast had caught that, which I told him it looked like you guys did. I agree with you, Finny. I think Skylar Shackelford was trying to pinch the 28 and kind of pinched him a little too much. Nonetheless, Travis doesn't know what happened until he sees the replay. He said he's going to get the damage repaired, come down for 4 tires and fuel. Probably going to be the only one to do so. He's currently 22nd now after the incident. What a avoidance by both the 42 and the 73.
Yeah, 42 did get a little bit of damage, but these cars are robust enough. I don't think it'll cause even the 28 a whole lot of strife. And he'll get that repaired and be able to continue, but it will hurt the track position game here. Guys, this has been a wild race at Indianapolis, and we should be getting a green-white checkered here, my assumption would be. See how things pan out in the next couple of laps.
There's a chance we could be getting a natural green-white checkered.
Pit stops
in
the
to go.
rear there, it looks like. But nobody.
So this is the lead lap cars pitting, correct? So
they just got 2 to greens. This will be a natural green-white checker.
So it will not count for our.
Oh, this track's over 2 miles. So the shorter yellows, lead lap and lap down pit at the same time.
Yeah, okay, so that means that we will get another chance at a caution to extend this race. This will not count towards our race extending one green-white checkered rule. So should the caution come out before the white, we will get another go.
Of note, Jacob Bell, our area owner, is traveling, so we're gonna get a points update immediately after the checkered flag as soon as the session finalizes. We're gonna look at our Sim Racer Hub points to be able to give you guys updated info. We won't be able to, I don't think we'll be able to bring that on screen for you guys, but we'll have the info for you regardless. There's Sim Racer Hub. I know they have an ad spot before we get going on the broadcast, but huge shout out to them. Some of the improvements they've been making over there have been incredible. We here at Area have been part of the beta test, and we loved the changes they've made. They just pushed them out to the regular site. It makes it a little easier for seeing all the sessions that are attached, especially since the member site sunset. It makes it easier to see practice and qualifying attached to the races once those get converted by those of us that are in charge of doing so, the admins of Area, and should make it a little easier for ATVO, which Kyle Heyer uses here on SimTV.
Yeah, that integration has existed for a while, but there wasn't a good way to easily bring in the points without having to do some manual work. So that's changed a little bit. So that should be able to bring in some championship standings fairly soon, built into everything. So doubling back up here for the restart. Whew, man. I'm worn out.
You need to take a deep breath because this is so far from over. So have a chance at another caution.
Gosh. Yep. It has been a wild night at Indy. And it is not over yet. So 4 tires versus 2 tires. I'd rather have 4, but Skyley was holding on pretty well. And so just to give everyone an update on who's got 4. In the top 5, the only 2 drivers that have 4 tires are Jake Matheson and Ricky Springer. I don't anticipate anyone from further back than that driving their way up to the front in 2 laps. But the next car on 4 tires is Connor Horn, and then Seth Knoll, and then there's about 5 others behind them that also have fresh tires, or fresher tires at least.
So what do we think, guys? Caution? No caution?
I think we get caution coming to the white, like as they're coming off turn 4.
I don't think we make it to turn 3.
I'm going to say we
turn
go,
2.
I think we're going to get there. I'm going to make
Appreciate your optimism.
It's not doesn't count for the commentator points, so I'll be the dissenter on that one, I suppose. All right, pace car is going to roll in this time. 2 laps, 5 miles worth of racing stands between these drivers and a win at the Brickyard. Even though it's an iRacing, it's still a win everybody wants. Green flag back in the air. Scioli fires away. Look at Springer on the attack on the inside.
Everyone trying to jump the gun here. Springer trying to see if he can get second place. Can't quite get there in time. Matson going to clear off into turn 1. Blaze McKinney going to try to fight with the 51, who's just not had the best restarts. Here comes 56, immediately throwing up the inside of the 7.
They almost touch in turn 2, and they're going to be side by side down the back. A lot of bump drafting going to go on here. Skyley going to have to mirror drive all the way into turn 3. Meanwhile, here comes McKinney, Springer, and Jake Nichols to the party.
Yeah, if these two battle too hard, they're going to bring in more into the group. There's Jake Nichols sitting back there, as you pointed out. The 56 is wide in turn 3. Almost into the wall. Trouble behind him. Crash. Big crash. The 4 car's hard in the wall. Greg Mitchell's in the fence. And we're under yellow again. Green, white, checkered.
Turn 3. Was that Hunter?
I said turn 4. I think it was Eric who said, well, turn 3.
That car is junk. Wow. That is going nowhere. He's got no steering. Have a look at it.
Ooh, and this is teammate on teammate, potentially.
No, I was ahead. It was up the road. It was the Leo gotten into, I think that was Greg Mitchell.
Yeah.
And it was a couple incidents, sort of.
Oh, that was a horrible wreck for Ezekias. 3 of their cars involved in that.
Yeah, there's the top of the screen there. The 22 and the 2 get together, and then the 4 takes a heck of a lick to the outside here as he gets into the 2. It's turned, and then watch this impact. Well, never mind. Watch this impact. And then gets hit again. And then comes down the road here and is going to hit this inside wall again.
I am hearing word that we should look at Travis Bettner's point of view with this incident.
That we shall do. Go back a little further and ride on board. Whoa!
Oh, still not done.
Holy cow!
Just a kiss to the inside.
That was a wild ride. Here's Cameron Hearns on board. Not much he could do. Damn.
This was an incredibly expensive wreck if we did have to pay for sim cars. For Fazekas Motorsports, guys, listen in.
Dude.
No.
I need a new team.
Well, good thing is I could pay for the repair, I guess.
That was Dom DeLeo saying he could pay for the repair. I'm pretty sure that was Greg Mitchell's claiming he needed a new team after Fazekas all come together right there, and Cameron Hearn gets the worst of it.
Yeah, reports from Brad Slaughter. Apparently, Fazekas stock dropping 45%. Didn't realize they were a publicly traded company.
They just hit the street today.
Well, they just hit the wall right there, unfortunately, so that didn't do so good. That's not what they meant by Wall Street, guys.
Tardos gonna make that joke.
I wasn't talking Wall Street. I meant they hit the street because they wrecked everything they had in the shop.
Oh, boy.
No cars for the playoffs.
Yeah. All right. Go again. And this is going to be our last attempt at a green flag finish. If the caution comes out, race is over.
Overtime. How many times have we had that this season? No, I'll put Hunter on the spot.
I'm going to go ahead. We have had overtime a grand total of 4 times, and that was heading into this race. Now, it'll be the 5th time that we go into sudden death.
Almost half of the races so far.
I'm going to do prices right for that.
11 races for the season. No, I thought Hunter was giving the actual statistic.
Oh, I thought he was guessing.
No, we've gone into overtime 4 times.
Of course
and
he
this is
knows
race
it.
number 5.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. That's why I turned
I
to
didn't
him.
think you would know that. I didn't think you would know that.
Hunter has graciously turned into the area stat guy. If you need to, actually,
Area Mac.
there's, yeah. He probably doesn't know this one off the top of his head. I only just looked this up recently, but how many times have I finished in 8th place in area events? Hunter?
I'm going to go 7.
Oh, damn, you were really close. It's 8.
Oh,
That's a pretty close guess for a
8
very
times in
random
8th
stat.
place. No, I'm sorry. There's points paying 11 times if you count the non-points paying.
No one counts non-points.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. So we're gonna
it
have 2
ain't point
tires.
paying, I ain't paying attention.
We're gonna have 2 tires staggered here, by the way, with the leader and then also row 2 outside.
Yeah, this
So-
is going to be very interesting.
I'm getting a super speedway 2-car tango vibe right here on the restart.
Well, if they're going to 2-car tango, they've been bad at dancing tonight. It's been a bloodbath as of late as drivers are getting their elbows out. It's been a fun one to watch, that's for sure. We're 4 laps overtime here, like 80-lap race. We're going to be on lap 84 by the checkers. We're coming to the green, though. Now it's 5 miles to the end no matter what. Here we go. Indianapolis Area Cup Series Race 11 back underway. Blake McKinney jumps to the outside. He's on the attack into turn 1.
Yeah, poor start for Jake Matheson off into turn 1.
Trouble, turn 1. The 42 is around. Big crash.
Well, that's going to be it, and the caution's going to come out. Does McKinney have the lead? I think he had the
think he
nose
did.
in front of the 7.
Caution is out. Race is frozen, but at what time is always the critical question. Did Blaze McKinney just steal one?
I think he might have just had the nose in front of him in the turn 1. That was a magnificent restart from the 87. Poor time for the 56 and Matheson to not go.
It was an unbelievable restart by the 87. We'll go back and look at it, but let's confirm the way things will finish. Nice.
So I'm going to go ahead and put this out there for when Blaze watches this race back, because he has now won the race. I'm fairly certain he was the leader at the time of the yellow. Blaze McKinney does not chill in Discord during these races, so no reaction from the 87 for you guys on the radio. I have Miller audio, and Jake Matheson, he let out a couple 4-letter words in the midst of it, but he said Blaze went up there and stole that race, and that was nuts.
He is going to
Put
lead
it mildly.
2 laps.
The 2 most important laps of the race.
James Skyley
And
led 23.
was he on our playoff graphic coming in?
Let's have another look at it
I
here.
don't think so. No, he was 20. He's 21st in points.
Well, that
He's
is
just
gonna change.
He's gonna get himself in the top 20 then.
That-
And now he has the win.
Oh boy.
Blaze McKinney may have just birthed himself into the playoffs.
Earth himself.
If he can stay,
Ew.
I couldn't think of a better word. All right, playoff berth.
I was
He needs to
thinking
stay in the top 20 for
BIRTH.
Talladega, but
Well, that's a
points racing at Talladega is never a fun thing to do.
that is potentially a big moment for Blaze McKinney. That it all came down to that restart. Had he not had the jump, then that would have been it. But Blaze McKinney crosses the stripe after 84 laps here at Indianapolis, and Blaze McKinney picks up his first win of the season at the Brickyard, and potentially, if he can cling to that top 20 spot in the points, a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah, great job by him just executing a perfect restart. Restarted in 3rd, and by the time they got to turn 1 leading, have a look again at Simrad Market replay of this fantastic restart they was able to execute.
Yeah, the crash happens right there. We'll look at that in a moment, but they are side by side. He's already ahead, guys. And there's, oh, you hear that impact.
Yeah, half a
he
car.
pulls even further. Yeah.
And it all came down to this restart was just amazing. Watch this 87. What a launch.
It's almost like he was going before the 7.
to the outside.
Back it up and ride on board potentially, please. I just want to hear what he was doing inside the car.
I'm not sure, but it got him the win.
Maybe he was anticipating when the 7 was going to go, gave it a little bit of throttle.
We'll have to ask the 7 or Scioli if he went because he saw Blaze start and expected a push. It was like Jake was asleep on that restart there in the 56 that allowed the 87.
He's been struggling with the restarts tonight, that 56.
Oh, don't hit the wall.
Is practicing burnouts for your first time is always
Oh, wait,
fun.
did he burn it on the bricks?
Nope, he stopped. He's going to stop right here, too.
Let's do it.
No, he didn't.
No.
Oh, he's cursed.
He stopped the first time. He didn't stop the second time.
He's going to be cursed for the rest of the playoffs if he does make it through.
Yeah.
That's a bad omen.
Hey, I challenged the winner on Thursday because I don't. It's too late for the winner to do so tonight. Find a spare brick somewhere. It's if you win the race on Thursday night in the Area Xfinity Series.
Gosh, that
That's a rough ask
24.
for about 30 or so people.
That is a nasty, nasty impact for the 24.
And they weren't even up to speed at that point, too.
Of note, Douglas Newbigin was not happy on the radio with this. I did not record that audio, but the 71 was very upset with 3 wide into turn 1.
Let's have a look at our race results. This was an interesting race. Blaze McKinney steals one. First win for the new Toyota also. By 2 tenths.
Almost like it was planned.
Yeah, over James Scioli. They bought and paid for. James Scioli finishes second. Jake Matheson in third. Ricky Springer fourth. Jake Nichols in the top 5 there, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, how about Jake Nichols in the top 5? Considering the horrible start he had to this race, losing connection, started, almost went a lap down, kept in it all night long, finally was able to climb back to 5th. Shackelford, where the Greater one is only going to be able to come up with 6th, but that's going to be a good points haul for him. Seth Knoll back in 7th with Connor Horn 8th. Matthew Belt going back to 9th after having a shot earlier on a winning. And Edward Shear Jr. rounding out your top 10.
And then having good finishes. Vincent Cortez had a race where he was all over the place, but came through with 11th. Lakatos P12. That's going to be good for him in the points. Beckner 13th. And Sogak and Tyler Nichols 14th and 15th. Towards the end, it got to Demolition Derby, so some of these guys were able to move up and get some good positions. Like Ed Robertson had that big moment early on in the race where he made contact with the outside wall, came home 18th. Greg Mitchell 19th and Cedric Hunter 20th.
Whew. And looking down the rest of the order here, 21st, Douglas Newbigin, Michael Curhan, that big crash down there at turn 1 takes him out 22nd for the 24. Cameron Hearn 23rd, then Jeremy Miller 24th. David Weishart, that's a disappointing result, 26th for the number 33. Connor O'Kresick, 27th. Kwame Scott, Bryce Senesack, and Garrett Grant, all drivers that had disappointing runs. And there's the tail end of the field there, Finian.
Yeah, Brad Slaughter retiring early after wrecking out and after having a quick car in the 83. And then, of course, race late, Ryan Hart started in parks. Ryan Hart, I got to say, with that start in park, he's going to be concerningly low in the points, losing out, finishing back in 33rd. So he's got to really hope he runs well at Talladega.
And let's talk with our third place finisher. It was Jake Matheson who comes home in P3 in the number 56. Jake, I know this didn't really pan out the way that you thought. That restart didn't quite go the way that you expected, I'm sure. And you'll take home a third tonight in a night that you probably could have won. So I'm sure there's some disappointment, but all in all, not a bad result.
Yeah, I mean, not too bad. I mean, the Indianapolis racing recently has been pretty pack racy, that 1 year in Xfinity they have like a draft package or a super speedway package. It feels like that, almost identical to that. So crazy racing, packed up racing whenever we get the restarts there, and good race all the way through between me and James there. Just good classic fuel saving race, and that's what that was. Other than that, I don't know what else to say. Blaze got in there and he stole one for sure. That was a really good restart on him.
Yeah, stole that one away from you, Jake. But P3 night, not a bad points night. Good luck next week at Talladega. We'll see you there.
Yeah, thank you. Just real quick before we go, I want to thank Calusa Pines, Celsius, Area Shop, Alien Gear, Huckett Films, and Miller Racing for everything they do. We'll we'll see you at the other Indianapolis tomorrow night.
Yeah, IRP tomorrow night at the Truck Series. Jake, thanks for talking.
Thank you.
And second place tonight was James Scioli. Led a handful of laps there towards the end. James had the control there towards the very end, but it just didn't pan out the way that you were hoping. Second place, not a bad result, but that one probably stings a bit.
Yeah, probably should have had the win. I didn't get a very good restart. And Blaze, all hats off to him. I mean, he got a perfect restart. I wasn't looking at my mirror. I was kind of using like a guide on the wall to figure out when I should go, just to try and time it different than when I went last time. So I was going to try and go a little earlier, and I just didn't see him roll into my back bumper. And then, like, right as he got to my back bumper, I went, and it was just a perfect storm. And then I just shouldn't have given up the outside there. Once I had cleared Matheson, I should have pulled up to take away some draft from Blaze, and maybe he would get side drafted, and I could have held on until turn 2 when the yellow came out. So just a couple errors there on the restart that I think ultimately did it. I didn't want to see that yellow. I was fine with the one before that, but I think that I had a good enough run on that natural green white checker to hold on. So it's kind of unfortunate to see the yellow there, but happy to be a benefactor of the 2-tire call. It seemed to work pretty well, and like I said, probably should have had that one.
Yeah, comes up just a bit short. Second place tonight, James. Good luck to you next week at Talladega, where you're going in feeling pretty good, but always looking to rack up wins, so we'll see you there.
Yep, thanks, guys. I want to give a huge shout out to you guys and to the admin team for everything you guys do week in, week out. Huge shout out to Lucky Ducks. I've missed a couple weeks here lately, so hopefully I'm good to go once the playoffs start and can keep running with these guys and try and get the best team championship spot as well. And then huge shout out to Simrap Market and Roasted Gems Coffee, No Kid Hungry, for being on the car, and hopefully we're talking to you guys later this week.
Yeah, we'll see you at the big track next week at Talladega. James, thanks for talking.
Thanks, guys.
And Blaze McKinney absolutely stole one there at the end on that restart. Came from out of nowhere. You led 2 laps, one of them under yellow. Actually, technically both under yellow, Blaze, but you stole that one away and get yourself in the top 20 in points. For now, you're in, but you still have Talladega next week to conquer to make sure you're in. I'm sure a range of emotions right now. What's going through your head?
Yeah, that was insane. I mean, there's still work to be done. Got to finish out the season strong to make sure we're locked in still. But I mean, what a race! First of all, I got to thank everybody that's sponsoring me here. Glenn, my buddy, spotting me every week, helping me work through the races, keep me alive in these races, strategy, everything. He's been a big part of these good finishes. 219 Racing, Bunch of Lawn Care. I've been working with the Powerhouse guys a little bit throughout the season. They've been kind of bringing me in. It's nice to work with them. Thanks to them as well. But man, it's just awesome race. I glad it was clean there at the end. I don't know how I pulled off that restart. I just timed it perfectly. I don't know how else to say it. I just timed it perfectly, and it just sailed it around the outside. The outside was quick all race, so I knew I could sail it in there, and it stuck somehow. It barely edged him out, but unbelievable.
Take me back to that last pit stop sequence, because there was a handful of drivers that took 4 tires. You were one of those that elected for 2. What brought you to that decision? Because you were carving through traffic pretty easily early in the race on the same tires as everyone else. So maybe a bit of a risky call, but it got you some track position that ultimately puts you in the spot to win.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I knew that like I had speed early in the run no matter what tires I put on, but I felt like I had some damage there. You guys probably saw it. I just had some damage late in the race, and I didn't feel like if I was that far back in traffic, I was going to be able to carve through the field like I could early in the race. So I just had to take the gamble. Decided to take 2, and I mean, the 2 tires worked a lot better than I thought they were going to do. Just hung in there and waited to pounce pretty much. Just had to hang in there.
Well, Blaze, congratulations. You're tentatively put yourself in the playoffs, but you still have to tackle Talladega next week. So how aggressive do you get there on the big track to keep yourself in that top 20?
Man, I mean, it's like a fine line. You don't want to be too aggressive, but I also, don't want to hang in the back the entire race and lose the draft and maybe never even have a chance to get up to the front. So, I mean, just got to try to find that fine line, stay out of the wrecks, try to have a solid finish. I mean, we don't have to win. Already did that. So just need a solid finish, and hopefully we stick in there.
Thanks for talking, Blaze. Congratulations. Great restart there, and enjoy this one. Soak it in. Win one of the season. Hopefully more to come.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Wow. Indianapolis, it has put on some good races. This one more dramatic than I can remember those in the past, however. Finian, final thoughts on Indianapolis. It's going to tee us up for an amazing race at Talladega with how much that cut line has shifted around.
Oh yeah, it really does. A lot of drivers bouncing around that cut line, namely Ryan Hart's dropping down to 15th in points, so he's got a hole to dig himself out of. Also notably, Bryce Senezak dropping out, lost 5 spots this round after his incident. James Scioli up 5 points. He's, I think, in. on points. So this is a great race for him, and a bunch of other drivers moving up as well. We'll see how it's all going to be lining up going into next week at Talladega. I mean, if you need to make up points, it's going to be a long night ahead of you.
Yeah, a long night indeed for next week at Talladega, but I mean, what a race we had here at Indianapolis. Drastic difference between this season and last season. It also helps that we had new bodies on the Ford Fusion, or Mustang, I should say, not Fusion, and the Toyota. Absolutely insane ending there, coming towards the end with the carnage. It kind of felt like the 2017 Indianapolis race, Kyle, where they were wrecking at the end, and then we had a surprise winner at the very end. It was very similar with the tire strategy from Blaze McKinney and the excellent restart. Was able to come through and get the win. The Indiana native wins at Indianapolis.
I think we have the obvious winner of Restart of the Year in area across all the series with Blaze McKinney, what he did right there. And if he gets the job done next week, he's got himself in the playoffs. What an incredible run he had right there. Just that 2-minute stretch, whatever it was there at the end. Excited to see what these guys can bring at Talladega, but it's looming large for a lot of contenders, as Finian highlighted. James Scioli, Matthew Bell, Casey Lakatos, Jeremy Miller, Bryce Senesac, all right there on top of the cut line. Ryan Hart's falling out, and obviously Blaze McKinney got to keep himself above 21st, in which he's already 18 points to the good on that currently. Tomorrow night, Kyle, though, we get to go to the short track. One of my favorite races in area.
Lucas Oil, Indianapolis Raceway Park. That's always a fun one. Running the high line, running the low line, a little bit of everywhere, everything like we saw tonight, but on a bite-sized scale. Indianapolis Raceway Park tomorrow for the Area Truck Series, and then right back here in the big track on Thursday for the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. That'll do it for us tonight from the Yard of Bricks. Kyle Heyer alongside Finian DeCuna, Eric Wineland, and Hunter Sleppy, and we'll see you next time.